My friends, tonight I stand before you not as a politician, not as a former president, but as a man truly moved, shocked in the best possible way by you. By your courage to dream bigger, to work harder, to rise above every obstacle thrown your way. I've seen people lose hope, but I've also seen hope resurrected by those who refuse to give up. And you, each and every one of you, remind me why I have faith in the human spirit. So let's talk about that power within you, the power that even shocks me. Resilience is not simply about surviving the storm. It is about learning how to dance in the rain. It is the quiet strength that rises when the noise around you tells you to quit. It is the force that whispers, keep going, when everything in your path seems to be saying, stop. The power of individual resilience begins with a mindset, an unshakable belief that no matter how many times you are knocked down, you have the ability, the courage, and the will to rise again. Life will test you. It will throw unexpected challenges at you, sometimes without warning, sometimes without mercy. But resilience is not about avoiding those moments. It is about facing them head-on and refusing to be defined by them. It is the determination to move forward even when your path is unclear, to take one more step when you feel you have nothing left to give. Resilience grows not in comfort, but in the discomfort of struggle, in the days when you question whether it is worth it, in the nights when you fight battles no one else can see. It is built through pain, through failure, through rejection, loss, but each time you endure, you are not just surviving, you are evolving. You are becoming stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the challenges ahead. And here is the truth: no one can give you resilience. It is not a gift, it is a choice. It is forged through your decisions, your actions, and your refusal to surrender to despair. Resilience demands patience when everything inside you wants to rush. It requires faith when evidence of success is nowhere in sight. It calls for discipline when the easier option would be to give in. There will be moments when you feel invisible, moments when you feel like heard, feel like the world is not recognizing your effort. But remember, resilience is not about being recognized. It is about staying true to the mission you have set for yourself, even when no one is watching. The most resilient individuals understand that failure is not final and setbacks are not the end of the story. They see adversity as a teacher, not an enemy. They turn obstacles into opportunities for growth and use pain as fuel to push further. Resilience is not built in the moments of applause and recognition, but in the unseen hours when you choose to show up for yourself over and over again. It is the quiet commitment to rise each morning with purpose, even when yesterday felt like a loss. And here is the remarkable thing about resilience: the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you get back up, you are proving to yourself that you can. Every time you refuse to quit, you are building a foundation that no storm can wash away. That is the power of individual resilience. It transforms you from somebody who hopes to survive into someone who knows they can overcome. And when you embody that power, you not only change your life, but you inspire others to find that same strength within themselves. Because resilience, while deeply personal, has a ripple effect. It becomes a beacon for others who are still in the fight, reminding them that they too can rise. Unity is not the absence of differences, it is the ability to rise above them. It is the strength that comes when people of diverse backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences come together with a shared purpose. Division, on the other hand, feeds on fear, misunderstanding, and mistrust. It convinces us that our neighbor is our rival, that the person who thinks differently must somehow be our enemy. But history has shown us that division weakens us, while unity makes us unstoppable. Unity is built on respect, on listening, on the willingness to see the humanity in one another even when we disagree. It requires humility, the courage to admit that no single person has all the answers, and that progress is a collective achievement. When we are divided, we waste our energy fighting each other and to solve the problems we all face. We let small differences overshadow the values and dreams we share. Unity calls us to focus not on what sets us apart, but on the common ground beneath our feet. It asks us to imagine what is possible when we each other up instead of tearing each other down. It is not about uniformity, it is about solidarity. In unity, our diversity becomes our greatest strength because each voice, each perspective adds depth to our understanding and power to our purpose. Unity demands patience. It is not built in a single moment, but through consistent acts of empathy and cooperation. It means choosing dialogue over insult, cooperation over competition, and understanding over judgment. It means resisting the temptation to retreat into our own corners and instead stepping into the middle where real change happens. Division is easy. It takes no effort to close your heart and shut your ears. But unity is the harder, nobler choice. It requires the discipline to keep working together even when the road is rough and the outcome uncertain. The moments when we are most tempted to walk away are often the very moments when staying together matters most. In unity, we find the resilience to overcome crises, the courage to face challenges, and the hope to believe in a better tomorrow. The world we want cannot be built by isolated individuals pulling in different directions. It must be built by hands joined together in shared commitment. When we stand united, we send a message that no challenge is too great, no obstacle too strong, no dream too ambitious. Unity does not erase our differences. It elevates it as something beautiful, something that serves a greater cause. And when the storms come, when uncertainty shakes our foundation, it will not be the absence of conflict that holds us together, but the presence of unity, the choice to fight for one another instead of against one another. Because in the end, unity is not just a strategy for survival, it is the path to greatness. It is the legacy we leave for the next generation, showing them that even in a world full of division, we had the courage to come together. That is the power that will define us, shape us, and carry us forward. Believing in your own potential is the foundation upon which every achievement is built. It is the quiet conviction deep inside that says you are capable, even when the world doubts you. It is understanding that your worth is not determined by where you started, but by how far you are willing to go. Too often, we underestimate ourselves, comparing our journey to someone else's highlight reel, forgetting that growth happens in the shadows long before it is seen in the light. Belief in your own potential is not arrogance. It is a commitment to see the best in yourself, even when circumstances try to convince you otherwise. It begins with a choice to trust your abilities, to believe that your efforts matter, and to know that your future is shaped more by your determination than by your current reality. This belief gives you the courage to take risks, to step into the unknown, to try even when failure feels likely. And here's the truth: there will be moments when you stumble, moments when doubt creeps in, moments when you question whether you were ever meant to succeed. But believing in your potential does not mean ignoring those doubts. It means refusing to let them control you. It is about remembering that every skill can be learned, every weakness can be strengthened, and every setback can be turned into a stepping stone. You cannot wait for others to validate you. Their approval is a fragile foundation. Instead, you must validate yourself by showing up day after day, proving through action that you are worthy of the vision you hold. This belief becomes your inner compass, guiding you when the path ahead is unclear. It allows you to see opportunities where others see barriers, to recognize progress in the smallest of steps, and to keep moving forward when progress feels invisible. Believing in your potential turns challenges into opportunities for growth, because instead of asking, "Can I?" you begin to ask, "How can I?" It pushes you to develop discipline, to sharpen your skills, and to keep stretching beyond what feels comfortable. The most successful people are not the ones who had everything figured out from the start. They are the ones who dared to believe in themselves long enough to figure it out. And belief, once acted upon, creates momentum. The more you trust in your potential, the more you act on it, the more evidence you create that your belief was justified. Over time, this becomes a cycle of growth, where each success, no matter how small, strengthens the belief that made it possible. But perhaps the most powerful part of believing in your potential is the way it inspires others. When people see someone who refuses to quit, someone who carries themselves with quiet confidence, they begin to wonder if maybe they can do the same. Your belief has a ripple effect, reaching further than you will ever know. And so, even when the journey feels lonely, even when no one seems to notice, understand that your belief in yourself is not just about you. It is about everyone who will be encouraged by your example. In the end, believing in your own potential is about the process, embracing the struggle, and knowing deep down that you are not defined by your past, but by the vision you have for your future. It is about showing up again and again until the world sees the version of you that you have believed in all along. Life will always present challenges, obstacles that feel too heavy to move, problems that feel too complex to solve, and moments that test the very limits of your strength. But hidden within each challenge lies the seed of opportunity, a chance to grow, to learn, and to become more than you were before. The difference between those who remain stuck And those who rise is not that one faces fewer challenges. It is that one chooses to see beyond the hardship. Turning challenges into opportunities begins with perspective. When you see a setback not as a wall, but as a doorway to something new, you give yourself the freedom to approach it differently. You start to ask, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? What new path might this be opening for me? Challenges have a way of forcing us out of comfort zones we might never have left on our own. They push us to develop skills we didn't know we had, to discover strengths we didn't realize we possessed. And while the process may be uncomfortable, it is often in discomfort that we find our greatest breakthroughs. Every difficult moment is a chance to sharpen resilience, to practice patience, to build character. Some of the greatest achievement in history were born from moments of deep struggle, when individuals dared to look at their circumstances not as a prison, but as a platform. This mindset doesn't deny the reality of pain or frustration. It simply refuses to let them be the final word. When we face challenges, our first instinct may be to ask why this is happening to us. But a more powerful question is, what can I do with this? This shift turns us from victims of circumstance into active participants in our own growth. It allows us to take control, even when control feels limited. Opportunities born from challenges are often disguised in hard work, in persistence, in the willingness to keep going when it'd be easier to stop. The job you didn't get might lead you to a path more aligned with your passion. The relationship that ended might create space for deeper self-discovery. The project that failed might teach you lessons that make your next endeavor a success. None of this means that challenges are enjoyable in the moment. They can hurt, they can frustrate, and they can leave you questioning yourself. But if you commit to finding meaning in them, you will discover that they often prepare you for something far greater than what you lost. This approach requires faith, faith that even in difficulty, something good can emerge. It requires creativity, the ability to see possibilities that are not immediately obvious. And it requires courage, the willingness to keep moving forward even without guarantees. Over time, as you practice this way of thinking, you begin to welcome challenges not with fear, but with a quiet readiness, knowing that each one carries within it the possibility of transformation. You stop running from difficulty and start leaning into it because you understand that the growth it brings cannot be found any other way. Turning challenges into opportunities is not about pretending life is easy. It is about choosing to believe that even in the hardest moments, life still has more to offer you. And when you make that choice, you stop seeing challenges as something to endure and start seeing them as something to embrace. Because you know that on the other side of them, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and ready for what comes next. Every one of us carries the ability to influence someone else's life, whether we recognize it or not. The responsibility to inspire others is not reserved for leader figures or people in the spotlight. It belongs to all of us. Every word we speak, every action we take, every choice we make has the potential to plant a seed in someone else's mind, to either encourage them or discourage them, to lift them higher or push them lower. Inspiration is not always about grand speeches or extraordinary achievements. Often it is about the quiet, consistent example of living with integrity, kindness, and determination. The responsibility comes from understanding that our lives do not exist in isolation. Someone is always watching, learning, and drawing conclusions from how we handle our successes, our failures, and everything in between. We may never know the full impact of our influence, but that does not make it any less real. When we choose to carry ourselves with purpose, to act with empathy, and to stay committed to our values even under pressure, we send a powerful message that it is possible to live a life of meaning and strength in any circumstance. Inspiring others does not mean being perfect. It means being authentic. It means showing that you can get knocked down and still rise again, that you can face uncertainty with courage, and that you can pursue your dreams even when the road is long and filled with obstacles. The moments when you push through doubt, when you choose patience over anger, when you extend kindness without expecting anything in return, those are the moments that can change someone's perspective entirely. We often underestimate how much hope can be sparked by simply being consistent in our efforts and genuine in our interactions. Carrying this responsibility requires self-awareness, because you cannot inspire others effectively without first leading yourself. You must be willing to grow, to confront your own weaknesses, and to strive toward your own potential. People are moved not by empty words, but by actions backed with sincerity. The more you invest in your own growth, the more you have to offer to those around you. And while it may feel like a heavy responsibility, it is also a privilege, an opportunity to make a lasting difference in the lives of others. You never know who might be watching you in their darkest hour, looking for a reason to keep going. You never know who might see your perseverance and find the courage to take one more step in their own journey. Sometimes, the simple fact that you refuse to give up could be the lifeline someone else needs. Inspiration is contagious. When you inspire someone, they carry that energy forward, passing it to others in ways you may never witness. This ripple effect means that the responsibility you carry is not just to the people directly in your life, but to the countless lives that could be touched through them. To inspire others is to be a light in a world that sometimes feels dark, to be a reminder that hope and determination are still alive. It is about choosing to live in a way that leaves people better than you found them, about lifting others even when you are still climbing yourself. And when you accept this responsibility, you become part of something bigger, a chain of influence that stretches far beyond you, shaping the future in ways you may never fully see, but can always be proud of. Creating lasting positive change begins with the understanding that real transformation is not achieved in a single moment, but through consistent, intentional actions over time. It is the willingness to commit to a vision and to keep working toward it even when progress feels slow and the results are not immediately visible. Positive change is not about quick fixes or temporary solutions. It is about laying a foundation so strong that it can withstand challenges, adapt to new circumstances, and continue to grow long after the initial effort has been made. It requires patience because meaningful change takes time to take root. It requires persistence because obstacles will always arise to test your resolve. And it requires clarity because without a clear sense of purpose, even the most passionate efforts can lose direction. Creating something lasting starts within. Before you can change the world around you, you must be willing to change yourself, your habits, your mindset, your approach. It means being honest about your weaknesses and having the courage to address them while also building on your strengths. It means committing to learning, to staying open to new ideas, and to being flexible enough to adapt when the path forward shifts. Positive change is also about impact on others. It is not just what you achieve for yourself, but what you leave behind for the people who come after you. Every action you take, every word you speak, every choice you make contributes to the culture and environment around you. If you want that impact to be positive, you must lead with empathy, integrity, and respect. You must seek to build rather than destroy, to unite rather than divide, to solve problems rather than simply point them out. Lasting change also depends on building systems and habits that can sustain progress. Inspiration is important, but without structure, it fades. You must create processes that reinforce your goals, whether that means daily disciplines, supportive networks, or measurable milestones that keep you accountable. Change becomes lasting when it is not dependent on one person's energy alone, but is supported by a shared commitment from a community. This is why collaboration matters so deeply. When people come together around a shared vision, their combined efforts multiply the impact and create momentum that no individual could achieve alone. Lasting positive change requires resilience because there will be moments when you feel like your work is not making a difference, when you question whether the sacrifices are worth it. In those moments, you must remember why you started and trust that the seeds you have planted are still growing, even if you cannot yet see the results. And when the results do appear, your job is not done. You must nurture them, protect them, and adapt them so they continue to serve their purpose in a changing world. The beauty of creating lasting positive change is that it often extends far beyond your original vision. What begins as a small step in the right direction can ripple outward, touching lives you never imagined and inspiring actions you will never witness. That is the true power of lasting change. It becomes bigger than you, living on through the people it inspires and the systems it transforms. And when you commit yourself fully to that process, when you choose patience over impatience, persistence over surrender, and hope over doubt, you can leave a mark that endures long after you are gone.